Turkish Patent and Trademark Office in Ankara, and I'm an IP expert there. So, and today I will be talking about what is geographical indications and also a little about intellectual property in general as a start. So, shall we begin? Begüm Hocam. Okay. Okay. Firstly, before I begin, thank you for inviting me, dear Atılım University Dietitian Society students and members, and Begüm Hocam especially. We were colleagues before, so it's really nice for me to be here in her department's sessions. So I'm grateful. So let's begin with that. Okay. So Turkish Patent and Trademark Office is the main IP office in Turkey, located in Ankara, and it deals with all things related to industrial property, especially industrial property. It's a governmental organization, and it operates under Ministry of Industry and Technology. And industrial property is actually a branch of intellectual property. So what is intellectual property? It divides into two categories mainly. The first one is the copyrights, and second one is the industrial property rights. Copyrights are more related to the person's own imagination. So like science and literature works, music works, artworks, cinema works, computer programs, these are all protected with copyrights. And in our country, Ministry of Culture, the General Directorate of Copyright and Cinema register these rights. And industrial property rights are more related to technology, and they include patents, trademarks, industrial designs, and also geographical indications. And these rights are protected by the Turkish Patent and Trademark Office. A little primer on what is what in these copyright, trademark, and patent. Also, these are sometimes confused with geographical indications. So what is a copyright? It's more like a protection granted automatically to the author of an original work. So it is when the work is created, it officially gains its copyrights. It's different from trademarks and patents. And it is valid throughout the lifetime of the author. So also in some instances after 60 years or 100 years after its death. And this is, copyright is protected like this in many countries. What is the trademark? Trademark is marka in Turkish. And it is the brand element which distinguishes a good from any other goods or services. And they can be a word, it can be a logo, or even a color. Like think about the purple color of Milka chocolate bars, you know, it is a trademarked color. This purple color can only be used on Milka brand chocolates. Other chocolate brands cannot use that purple color because it's trademark protected. And it's these trademarks are actually valid indefinitely, but it is renewed in every 10 years. And what is a patent? Patent is a right which is given to the rightful owner of this patent who has created or made the patent, which includes new, original, and usable ideas. So that is the patent. And these should not be confused with each other. Okay, let's move into geographical indications. And geographical indications are mainly an indication of a connection between characteristics of a product and their geographical origin. So the product has a characteristic and an origin, which gives it some special attributes. This can be protected with a geographical indication. So here you can see one of our well-known geographical indications, Ayvalık Zeytinyağı. We will go through this again, but you can see there is the geographical origin, the product, and there is, of course, a connection, which is through these olives. And geographical indications are protected in many, many countries throughout the world, like Switzerland. This is Thai. I will show you some examples. China is right now on the rise for protecting geographical indications. Japan, EU, of course, United European Union, also in other countries, Cambodia, other countries, many countries protect geographical indications, but the beginning of geographical indications dates back to 19th century in France. So how it started, in 19th century, the wine sector in France was living a golden era, let's say. So after the liberalization of France, the improvement of transportation and a lot of increase in consuming of wine, it's ended up the wine production increased nearly 3 times in France. But this also carry about their focus being shifted on quantity and not the quality of the wine. So there is this concern that the French wine is losing its quality, and there was a lot of outbreaks of phylloxera. It's a disease of grapes, grape vines, and it kills the grapevine. And there was a lot of concern over this, and a lot of falsifications, adding water or sugar to wine, misuse of other geographical names for inferior brands. And in 1905, the France came about this appellation of origin protection. And in 1935, the controlled appellation of origin started to become legislated. And in 1990, a special division was formed. INAO is in charge of geographical indication in France. And also in 2015, also another department was established for non-agricultural geographical indications. And this concept enlarged into the geographical indications that is used in today. And it is protected since 1992 in EU. And there is this big agreement called TRIPS agreement, not only about geographical indications, but a lot about trademarks, international trade in general, and geographical indications also is protected through this TRIPS agreement. Also related to our country, because our country was a founding signatory on TRIPS agreement, we started protecting GIs in 1995. So that is how Turkey began their journey of GI protection. There is also a lot of international agreements right now that protect GIs, like Geneva Act of Lisbon agreements. And some well-known GI examples from France, I guess their most well-known GI is Roquefort cheese. From Italy, Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. You can see, maybe you tasted this Parmesan cheese, we call it in Turkey. Of course, Colombian coffee in Colombia, like they have this logo as well. Fish sauce from Vietnam. Maybe Begüm Hocam knows this better. It's a very well-known fish sauce. Darjeeling tea in India, it's a very big GI and very well protected. Kampot pepper from Cambodia. This was a very good project, increasing the livelihoods of the pepper farmers in Cambodia. Kobe beef in Japan, they have this really nice GI logo as well. And from our country, our most well-known, I guess, geographical indication is Taşköprü sarımsağı. So it was recently registered in EU as well. So right now, Taşköprü sarımsağı is also protected in European Union. And this lovely garlic statue from Kastamonu, I wanted to show you this. Okay, so enough about the world. Let's talk about our country. And protection of GIs started in 1995. As I told before, it was protected with the Decree Law of 555. But of course, this was a decree law and not very sufficient to protect the GIs in a comprehensive manner. So another legislation was established in 2017, and this is the Industrial Property Law No. 6769. So I will just call this IP law if I say. This law actually deals with the protection of all IP rights in our country. And in 2017, this legislation was passed and the Department of Geographical Indications was established. So after 2017, geographical indications started to be protected in a very comprehensive way, very in line with the EU protection as well. So in our country, food, agricultural products, mining products, handicraft products, and some special industrial products can be registered as geographical indications. Right now in European Union, only food and agricultural products can be protected as geographical indications, but they are also working on a new legislation to protect other handicraft products. So I mentioned this a little bit in the beginning of my presentation, but for a product to be registered as a geographical indication, there has to be some conditions. First, there has to be a defined area which the product comes from. Second, the product has to have some specific characteristics. So it has to have some special characteristics. This does not need to be one of a kind or anything, just needs to be distinguished from others. These characteristics has to be influenced from the specific region, the defined area. If there is no connection between the region and the product, this product cannot be registered as geographical indication. So these are the four main conditions. And how are geographical indications registered in our country? First, the applicant has to compile a dossier, a folder for the registration, to start registration product. This is mainly consists of the application form, any subsequent materials which provide us with any technical specifications of the product, and any relevant material that shows us that this product is connected to that geographical origin. So this is submitted to our office. It's a very little price for the submission, like 45 liras for the submissions. Mainly it's only the taxes. I think this is only the tax money. And the folder is examined by our department, and we can ask for expert opinions from Ministry of Food and Agriculture, from Ministry of Culture, any other relevant institutions. And if the geographical indication application is ready to be published, it is published in our official bulletin, and there's a 3-month opposition period which any opposing parties may file an opposition. So if there's no oppositions are filed, then the product is registered as a geographical indication. This also has a really small registration fee, around 90 liras. So who can apply for a GI? I will talk about this a little bit more maybe later, but any producer group can apply for a GI. any relevant governmental organizations can apply for a GI. Also, non-governmental organizations can apply for a GI. There's one thing you can see that the producers itself or companies, they cannot apply for a GI. It has to be a producer group. So any individuals, is very hard for them to apply for GIs. And how our geographical indications are protected in our country? I promise this is my last slide with a lot of text. The controls are carried out by the control authority. The control authority is specified in geographical indications registration, and this control authority can prevent any direct or indirect use of the geographical indication, the name of the product, which does not confer to the registration. So this also includes any like a style type method, like ezine type cheese can also be defined as an improper use of the geographical indication. So the registrant can apply, can file a lawsuit, or any producer or any legal person who has a right to use the geographical indication can request a lawsuit to be filed about these improper uses. And from the courts, you can ask for the improper use to be stopped, the stopping of the infringing actions. You can ask for material damages and seizing the products. Also, you can ask for to be granted property on the products or the devices or the machines which are used. So you can basically give a lot of damage to an improper user. And there are these 3 official emblems for geographical indications in our country. They are mandatory to be used with GIs. Maybe you have seen them in the market on cheeses or something. So this is the red one is for menşe adı, for PGI. So what is menşe adı? I will get to that later, but these are these are products which take all their characteristics from their geographical area, and all of their ingredients and all of their production steps are carried out in that geographical area. Mahreç işareti or protected designation of origin, they are also linked to their geographical area, but their link does not have to be as strong as the PGI, more like the link can be more about human factors, more about its history, in its culture, in the geographical area, and only at least one step has to be carried out in the geographical area. And geleneksel ürün adı, traditional specialty guaranteed. This is a newer form of protection. It is not a geographical indication, but a separate protection. It is given for any traditional names which are used in the market for at least 30 years, but does not confer to any specific geographical area. A good example for this is döner. It is newly applied for geographical indication. So it is not, does not have a geographical area, defined geographical area, but it has been used for 30 years in the market. So they have recently applied for its protection. And a little bit of statistics. Right now, there is 713, a little more than this maybe, geographical indications that are registered in our country. And you can see after the new IP law, we had a massive surge in geographical indication applications and also registrations. So this year, amidst the COVID pandemic, we had 450 new applications, which was a record for us. And the highest product groups are actually fruits and vegetables, It is normal because we are a agricultural country, you know. And the second is meals, the meals and soups. Many cities are trying to protect their local cuisines through geographical indications right now. So there's a lot of these registrations recently. Also, bakery and pastry products are protected as GIs. And what are the objectives of GIs? So let's move on to more fun stuff. First, it adds value to the product. Second, fight against the usurpation of the name. So if you buy a product under a geographical indication name, but it does not reflect any good quality, it actually decreases the trust in that product. So geographical indications fights these circumstances. Rural and territorial development, of course, the first, maybe the objective of GI is this, and also protection of traditional knowledge and also landscape. So I said, of course, the quality guarantee function. So these tags give the consumer a sense of quality. It also gives them, gives the farmers or the producers a competitive tools. You can see these are primary agricultural products, and you can imagine that most primary agricultural products are sold without trademarks. So it is very hard for a producer to have an advantage in the market. So the geographical indication gives a guarantee to the consumer about the quality of their products. And this quality guarantee, of course, comes with a premium. And in EU, there is a very popular market research which has shown that geographical indications are sold around 2 times of the price of a comparable non-GI product. And it's even more for wines, 1.55 for agricultural products, and 2.57 times for spirit drinks. And of course, it gives way to rural economy, and sometimes because the product has better connection to the place of origin, it can reach these niche markets that the consumers today are always looking for new products, products with history, products that can be relatable to them. And because these products are often produced by smaller producers, GI registration can be more beneficial to these smaller producers compared to bigger producers. And how they can help smaller producers? First is, of course, the GI products often sold as direct sales, and also sales with prior agreements. So the markets officials often come to the farmers to make prior agreements to buy their products a year before they are even harvested. So this gives the farmers a sense of guarantee, a sense of a way of income. So it's very beneficial for rural developments. You can see here İspir fasulyesi is a very successful geographical indication, and maybe you know about its prices, but it's often sold 3 times the price of a traditional, conventional white beans. I recently got this from the Migros store. So you can see here 1 kilogram is 20.5. And for İspir fasulyesi, even though it's a smaller quantity, it's nearly twice the price. So it's very beneficial. And geographical indications often have intrinsically higher quality, and consumers know this, and they will have a willing to pay more for that quality, and the product will have a higher added value. And maybe you are familiar with Finike portakalı, Finike orange, and this is the city of Finike. I don't know if anyone has visited this place, but it's a really, really beautiful place. So I suggest you visit it if you have time. and it is now sold nearly 3 times as well the price of a conventional orange because of its higher perceived quality. Of course, another good thing about geographical indications is it's easier to access food retail, and the primary producers often have a lot of hard time reaching these food retail stores. And because the food retail officials often seek these geographical indication products, they go to the farmers itself to buy their products. And here you can see the trademarks itself, geographical indication under it, and it is probably has been bought from the farmer for a higher premium. In our country, for agricultural products, Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry also have an ex officio protection. So they carry out audits on geographical indications. This also gives the consumers a higher level of trust. And it is another reason why they can be considered higher quality by consumers. Of course, there's a lot of fairs for promoting geographical indication products. I will show 2 of them here. This is geographical indication fair in Ankara, which is held every 2 years, and Eurex in Antalya, held every year. These are great opportunities for producers to promote their products. And I will now give you some examples. I take these slides, these 3-4 slides from an Italian colleague's presentation. They show about the promotional activities of geographical indications, how GIs are promoted around the world, how they are used by the producers and producer groups. So maybe you have heard mozzarella cheese is protected in Italy, and the association of these mozzarella cheese from Campania region in Italy brought these buffaloes to the royal palace, in front of the royal palace, to promote the mozzarella product. So as you can see, here is the statue, and here is the buffaloes which were brought to the royal palace to promote these mozzarella cheese. Here you can see another picture of the buffaloes. Also, sometimes the producer groups can have very unique ideas about this product. So the unlikely initiative, they call this, the cheese makers and meat product makers in Italy with geographical indication had been allied with McDonald's to create burgers with geographical indications. So there was this Parmigiano Reggiano burger with Asiago cheeseburger and a bacon from Alto. These were all made into different burgers by McDonald's, and they were sold in Italy with the geographical indication name next to it. And also there is a yearly event made by Parmigiano Reggiano Association, the Parmesan Association. So this every year there is a Parmigiano Reggiano night where all the families in Italy, they told us, make the same food, pasta with Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. And the sales of Parmigiano Reggiano skyrockets that week, and it is celebrated by many people in Italy, they told us. And GIs can be used as a tool for tourism as well. So this is a project by also Italian project in Emilia-Romagna region, a map created with geographical indication products. So on the map, you can see all these products and where they can be found in this region. And there was this 15 roads which are created for every geographical indication, where you can explore the production of the geographical indication and taste the products. Also in our country, there is a very similar and very popular project right now because of COVID and whatever. It is not has been initialized as well as other years, but 2 years ago it was established, Trakya Lezzet Haritası, Trakya Taste Journey, and these maps were created for food enthusiasts to explore Trakya region and taste all the regional food products. And most of these products now have GI registrations, so I can include this as well. And also there are many product festivals and events which the producer cannot even can promote their products and cannot find anywhere else, like the Orange Festival in Finike, where the city is covered with oranges every year. Here you can see this festival has been going on for many years, and if you Google it, you can see some very funny pictures from the city. There is a statue from oranges competition, and it is quite fun, I can say. Like the most beautiful tomato contest in Boyabat, which is famous for its tomatoes, a geographical indication product as well. And we have tasted this tomato actually, and I suggest you, if you find it, you have to try it. It's really good, really, really nice product. Of course, maybe you have heard this event, Urla Artichoke Festival, very popular festival. It's also a geographical indication, started after the registration of geographical indication of Urla enginarı, Urla sakız enginarı, the artichoke from Urla region. And this festival, they told us, has generated enough advertising material equivalent to $2 million, something like that, because it was so further covered in media. And so this is a very nice opportunity for producers to promote their products. Also, there is a rising trend of going into PDO or PGI routes, which are created specifically for one single geographical indication, where you can see all the production steps of this geographical indication and taste the product, even sometimes stay in that region for a couple of nights or one night, like this, from France, maybe, I'm not sure, but France or Italy, from Italy, yes, for this piave cheese. Let's go. Also another one for this ham products, Cutello of Sibelio ham, where you can go and see how this product is produced. Some other tours, like lemon tours in Costa Amalfi in Italy, Amalfi Coast in Italy. So there are these lemon tours and lemon bus, plums in Germany, events for these plums. This is from Iran. Another prominent geographical indication registered is these saffron flowers, saffron in Iran, and they have these gastronomy tours where you can pick your own saffron flowers to dry at home. From our country, of course, maybe you have heard this, but Kars Kaşarı, cheese from Kars, they create these events every year, like many events throughout the year to promote this cheese, and it attracts many customers. Also, many tourists go there specifically to see the production of this cheese and to taste this cheese and to buy this cheese. And you can see from our country, these cheese tours are quite popular right now. Also, promoting GIs are especially good with consumers. I have seen these billboards in Ankara promoted by the Ministry of Culture, the geographical indications of Gaziantep. Here you can see huge billboards. They were put on Eskişehir Road. I think this was there, like for many kilometers maybe. There was at least 20 or 30 of them promoting geographical indications. And I want to conclude by giving you the link for the geographical indication website in our country, ji.turkpatent.gov.tr. So if you go to this website, you can see all the registered geographical indications in our country, and statistics, our news, all the specifications of geographical indications. If you click on any city on this map, you can see which registered GIs are in that city. And if you click further, you can see the specification and also the registration here of that geographical indication, and also the controlled producers, which are found here in here for most geographical indications. So thank you for listening to me for this 40 minutes. I hope it's not boring. So if you have any questions, or if you want to chat, we can talk. Okay, I will stop share now.
Sure. Özden, this was so lovely. We so much enjoyed it. This was very original for us. And I would really like to extend my gratitude to you. So any questions, dear students? Or anyone? I can start maybe. Can I ask some questions?
Okay. Sure.
First of all, since we are the Department of Nutrition and Dietetics, when I listened to your presentation, I was thinking about the nutritional information about these products. Is there any mandatory processes to actually send these products to labs and, you know, like check for their carbohydrate content, protein content, minerals, vitamins? Is there any process like that? And yeah, maybe after that I can ask my second question.
Not mandatorily, actually. It depends on the product's specific character. So if the character of this product comes from its, let's say, high fat quantity, maybe let's give example of clotted cream from Afyon, you know, Afyon kayma. The specificity comes from its high fat content. So if there's something like that, we can ask for the nutritional values. But if the product does not have that link about the nutritional aspects with the geographical area, then we won't ask for the nutritional values. So it depends. If there is a link with the geographical area, then we may ask for it. For cheeses, we often ask for the dry matter and the fat content for all of the cheeses, because it's a characteristic. But otherwise, it depends on the specificity.
And how can the producers actually convince you that those products really came from that region? Can you expand a bit more on the specificity part? It must be quite difficult to get. How are you doing that in the office?
First, it depends. First, we look for if it's a PGI or a PDO. I told before, like menşe, mahreç işareti. So if it's a menşe or PDO product, then there has to be a very strong link with the geographical area. So let's think about maybe what product I can tell you. Kars kaşarı, just before I said. So what gives this product its characteristic is because the geographical area has very high elevation. There is a long period of time that there's green grass on the meadows, and the cows, the animals which make these cheese, milk for this cheese, can graze on these green grass for like 10 months or something. And this gives the characteristic of the product. So this gives us this kind of explanation, convinces us that there is a link with the geographical area. So if the product is a PGI product, we look for the material like cookbooks or some old documents which shows us the name of the product, that this product has been made in this region with this name for years and years. Like I can give you examples with Gaziantep lahmacunu. They have given us it was one of my first dossiers that I looked. There was some pictures from 1940s which showed the Gaziantep lahmacunu products on billboards in Gaziantep. Maybe 200 cookbooks which had the name. Like any kind of material such as that convinces us that the product can be linked to the geographical area. But sometimes it's very hard to find, especially in our country where written documents are scarce. It's kind of hard to find for small cities or small villages with very prominent products, maybe well known in the region, but was never published, was never industrialized. It's very hard for them to convince us actually about products.
You show all those products, and it seems it appears that it is easy to get these indications, and you show the stats, and we saw that there has been more than 450, if I'm not mistaken, only in 2020, but I guess the process is not that easy. You really the work.
Depends on the product. For like sometimes for meals, it is kind of easier to register them because
really,
yes, it is, because if you can provide us with sufficient information about its link with the geographical area, about its history, then you're halfway there, let's say. But for PDO products, it's much harder. Also in European Union, it's the same. And in recent years, actually, the number of PDO registrations were very low in the European Union because it's very hard to convince the IP examiners, the examiners in European Union about PDO products as well.
How long do the IP examiners take in order to actually, give that designation?
Depends on the quality of the application. If the application is very well defined, if the characteristics are well defined, linked with the geographical area is well defined, it can take as short as 6 months. But
as short as 6 months, okay.
But I told before, there's a 3-month opposition period.
Also,
yeah. And we usually ask for expert opinions, which is around 2 months. And so that's the shortest you can get. But usually it takes 2 years to register a geographical indication.
I see. How about the enforcement for the misuse of these signs, geographical indication signs? Is there a real enforcement in Turkey? Do you have any examples in your mind or any comparison with EU?
Sure. Actually, compared to the number of registered geographical indications, the lawsuits that are filed for the misuse of geographical indications are very low. But it's, let's say, the start of GIS since 2017, then it's around 3-4 years, so it's normal that it's beginning to be more popular right now. But there are some good lawsuits. Maybe you have heard in the news actually recently, the lawsuit between Unilever, Algida and Maraş Dondurması, which was filed by Unilever actually, because the registered Maraş Dondurması was recently registered as a geographical indication, and only ice creams with 100% goat milk produced in Maraş can be named as Maraş Dondurması. And there was an opposition to that, but the lawsuit was rejected. So Unilever right now cannot use the term Maraş dondurması in their ice creams because they only have around 10% goat milk, I think, and only 100% can be used. Other example I can give you is İnegöl köftesi. Maybe you are all familiar with İnegöl köftesi. Is a registered GI, one of the older GIs. And in the registration, it is told that this meat product can only be made with red meat. So they have filed a lawsuit against BİM, you know, because they had Turkey İnegöl köftesi, like chicken İnegöl köftesi, like tavuk İnegöl köfte. And they have actually won the lawsuit and had a material damages compensation from BİM as well. So you can file these lawsuits, and it is filed, and it is actually a fast process, not very slow process, because they have different courts that look for the geographical indications. So it's fast process.
Which ministry is dealing with that? I mean, the enforcement for these products, is it Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry?
The the control plans of Ministry of Agriculture includes geographical indications, but actually the main control body is supplied in the registration itself. So usually it's the registrant and 2 or 3 other relevant governmental organizations which compose a control body. So like let's say the Chamber of Commerce in Ankara, let's say for Ankara Döneri, also an expert from Ministry of Agriculture, another expert from a university, let's say it's supplied in the registration that these 3 experts will be carrying out controls on that geographical indications, and they may file lawsuits in case of any improper use.
Thank you, Beyza.
Yeah, can I ask something? Does the countries switch each other because of the food? In some of the people thought baklava is belong to Lebanon, but it's belong to Turkey. So there is some complicated situation. They can switch each other.
Well, usually the intellectual property rights are usually territorial. So if you register a geographical in Turkey, geographical indication in Turkey, it is only produced, it can only be protected in Turkey. But it can happen in EU also, it sometimes happen, like very similar, like, you know, Italy and France have some products which are very similar names. They can have oppositions with each other. In Turkey, not between countries, but between cities, we see this, you know, because like lahmacun, for example, like Urfa and Antep, both apply for registrations. They have their own characteristics. We can register if they can prove their own characteristics. Like Urfa lahmacunu can also be registered, and also Gaziantep lahmacunu can also be registered. But sometimes there are huge fights between cities about the registration of a product, like Trabzon ekmeği, you know, probably all of you know. There is a similar product called Çayeli ekmeği, a smaller city in the region. And there was a big lawsuit between them because the Trabzon Ekmeği Association did not want them to be registered, it's still going on. So this can happen, of course, but the real aim should be the rural development and how the both parties can be successful in their rural development. So there is no use of fighting between countries of which product is whose. I think
I was curious about it because of the Greek always stole our products. So it's kind of annoying somewhere.
Yeah.
So people thought even a yogurt belongs to Greeks, but it belongs to Turkey. So when we met Bulgarian people, they thought when I say yogurt is our, like, what? Are you serious? I didn't know that. They are shocked because they all tell us differently. So I think we probably did a sweets to them. So I just asked it for you. Yeah.
The rakı, rakı is also famous in many other European countries, and Turkey wants to register rakı as a geographical indication in EU. But I think there will be a lot of oppositions from other countries because Bulgaria has rakia, and Romania also calls it rakı, something like that. And I think there might be some oppositions, not right now, but later. We'll see.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
First of all, I would like to say thank you about your presentation. It was a fruitful presentation for us. I would like to learn more about how is it regulated that there is no adulteration or food frauds in food, for example? What is the legislation about this?
The legislation states that any product which does not confer to the specification of the geographical indication is an improper use. So the control body, which I've talked about before, which is provided in the registration, can file lawsuits. So the control mechanism is not like the food controls which we are more familiar with, which are done by the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry. This kind of protection is called sui generis protection. So you need to file a lawsuit. But also the Ministry of Food and Forestry carries out audits on these products, and they can give penalties to producers which improperly use the geographical indication name, like ezine cheese, which is made in Konya, let's say. If during the audits of the food ministry they see the ezine cheese on the label, ezine peyniri on the label, but the product is produced in Konya, they can give a penalty to the producer because of improper use of geographical indication. But you should not mix the official controls of food safety with geographical indication, because geographical indications are more related to food quality. The registrations do not have, usually, let's say, like 99% do not have any clauses on food safety. This is more about food quality, so you should not mix them up, okay?
Okay,
thank you for your question. It was a really nice question.
Hocam, thank you. I would like to ask just one more. For example, as you mentioned before, we have rakı, and as far as I know, Greeks have ouzo, and also you said Bulgarians have such things. I know that Italians have sambuca, they call sambuca, but it tastes the same with rakı. It's just sweeter, slightly sweeter than rakı. And also French people have such things. For example, you said Turkish people applied for this, and how authorities can decide. I mean, we cannot look for clay tablets from Sumerians, so how can we decide?
They are planning to apply. We did not apply right now. Well, of course, like the Turkish application, the Association for the Rakı Producers creates an application folder. So you can easily provide any necessary history of Rakı. You know, Rakı has a long history in Turkey. The real problem is once Turkey registered Rakı as a geographical indication, other countries which has nearly the same name cannot use that name in their products. So like it doesn't matter if the product tastes the same or smells similar, because the protected name is important. You know, the protected name is Uzo in Greek, Uzo in Greece, and it will be Rakı here. So the main difference is their names. So if the products are similar, it doesn't matter. But if the name is similar or the same, then it's a big problem, because others cannot use that product. And who can file an opposition is actually the Bulgarians, because they have already registered some geographical indications with the name Rakıya, because it's called Rakıya in there, and it sounds similar. So there may be some oppositions from there, but we'll see. It's not yet applied.
For example, if we see such situation, can we apply for authorities as citizens, or should we make it as a companies or institutions?
For the registration, only institutions or producer groups. For oppositions can be filed by any relevant parties. So you need to convince them that you are relevant. So it's not impossible, but maybe it might not be complained.
For example, Greeks has Chatiki. They have Cacık. Like we have Cacık and they have Chatiki, and as far as I know, they applied. I heard such things. So if like as Turkish government, if we want to make any opposition in regards of this, should we make as a citizen appliance, or like as a institutions?
Well, of course, institutional oppositions are better. There has been an opposition, I can tell, in Greeks. They also have, you know, we have Sultaniye üzümü. Maybe you have heard this in Aegean region, Ege region. There is a grape called Sultaniye grapes, Sultaniye üzümü, a GI product. But in Greece, there is also a product called Sultaniya üzümü, Sultaniya grapes. And there was an opposition, but the opposition was resolved somehow. So it was registered in the end. So it depends on the situation, depends on the opposition, what clauses the opposition will have. So it depends on these things. Sometimes EU parties oppose to our own products. So it can happen. But it is, of course, it's better to have institutional opposition.
Okay, Hocam, thank you so much.
You.
Any other questions?
I can ask a question. Have you noticed this geographical indication emblems before in the market? A little market research here with the informed consumers. Okay, I advise you to look out for them from now on.
I saw just like grape leaves.
Ah, yes.
But nothing else. Like I didn't notice at least.
If you look under Ezine cheeses, I can give you a tip. Most of them has the geographical indication label under its packaging. You can see if they have the label, then it's better quality. I will promote my label here.
Özden Hocam, actually, I wanted to ask you about that part. I know that food literacy, nutrition literacy is not that high, not only in Turkey, but it's a problem all around the world. And geographical indication is a relatively new labeling visual, we can say. Do you have any market research? Probably not representative of whole Turkey, but at least for the major cities. What is the situation?
Not yet. I haven't seen any. Actually, I haven't seen any. There isn't. We have not yet made a market research in our department because it's actually just 2 years. It's been 2 years since the, and maybe it's even less that it's been starting to be widely used. But in EU, I can give you some numbers that it's less than 10% in EU. The recognition of geographical indication. Higher in certain countries like Italy, it's higher, around 25% recognition. But even in EU, where they have this logos for nearly 20 years, maybe it's been, it's still quite low, the recognition of these emblems.
And how is it actually impacting the sustainability of the environment, this geographical indication? Do we have any concrete proof it also improves, in a way, environment as well?
Yes, of course. There are many studies actually which shows us that geographical indications are related to sustainability because they create these circular production cycles, which benefits the smaller producers, benefits the production cycle, the local production of food products, and also the transfer of knowledge between generations, decreases the migration of farmers from the smaller cities to bigger cities. So it affects sustainability, but right now I don't know if there are any concrete studies carried out if the sustainability is increased with the geographical indication. But I believe it has an effect.
How about women empowerment?
It has in some cases it has very high women empowerment, especially direct sales. I can give you an example. Is this purple onions from Erdek, which is in Marmara region. The registrant of this geographical indication is a women's association, and there's a huge number of women in that association. They all produce these purple onions, and after the registration, the popularity of this product has increased immensely. They have sold all their products 2 years before its production, and the ladies in that region told us that they now have a livelihood, that they can provide a livelihood for themselves. So it can affect, especially it is encouraged that women's associations register the GI themselves and play a part in the geographical indication cycle. And the Kalkınma Ajansı, they give small supports, monetary support to women's associations to produce geographical indication products, so they can have some effect.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your questions, Begüm Hocam.
Any other question?
I hope you can, as with your students, you can work on these geographical indications. I have seen some studies now about the dietary aspects of geographical indications as well. So I hope there are more studies on geographical indications which will be beneficial to us, because in Turkey there are very little amount of studies in geographical indications.
Maybe we can collaborate.
Yes, also especially for your students, I'm telling, for the next generation.
Definitely, definitely. They are going to be preparing their graduation thesis, some of the students, and some students are coming from regions with registered,
Yeah.
and maybe there can be some studies to look for
Yes.
certain effects on health. I don't know, or even
Yeah.
consumer awareness. Even just gauging consumer awareness would be an asset to your office, I believe.
Sure, yes. Everything is welcome. Thank you for listening to me this night. Yes, thank you.
Tuğçe Hocam, do you have anything to add?
Just a huge thanks to Dr. Özden. It was a very informative presentation for me also. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Then Beyza, would you like to take some photos before we close the event?
Yes, yes.
Forgetting?
No, I actually took, but I was also waiting for the finish it whole session. So I will say 1, 2, 3, and I will talk photo. If the audience also want to join us, they can open their cameras. I will wait. I hope they're so shy to open their cameras.
After Ramazan meals, nobody wants to show their face.
And I will take a photo. 1, 2, and 3. I will cook again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to say thank you again for Özden teacher, because it was so inspiring. And I'm also joining to Begum teacher. Probably huge amount of the students audience will interested with the geographical investigation after now from now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So then,
Yes,
evening.
Meeting will be done. Thank you for again. See you next time.
bye-bye.
Bye.
I will end it for